All right, we're sticking with cricket for this segment of the SportsMax Zone, shifting from Pakistan to Malaysia now, where the second edition of the ICC Women's Under-19 T20 World Cup is set to bowl off on Friday night Caribbean time. The West Indies, led by 17-year-old Trinbagonian Samara Ramnath, will bow into action from Group A against the defending champions India on Sunday morning. Hosts Malaysia and Sri Lanka complete the group. There are 3 other groups in the 16-team competition, with the top 3 teams from each advancing to the Super 6 stage, where teams from Group A and D will be placed in one bracket, while teams from B and C in the other. Only the points, wins and net run rate gained against other qualifiers will be carried over into the second round. There have been doubts regarding the West Indies' chances of advancing to the Super 6 following mixed results in their warm-up matches. The Caribbean side first defeated Nepal by 9 runs on Monday before being the subject of a 79-run thrashing at the hands of New Zealand on Wednesday. Since the last edition of the tournament in January of 2023, the Caribbean side has featured in just one official series, playing to a 2-all draw with the United States in a 5-match contest in July last year. A month later, the Under-19s contested a developmental school tournament in England, where they lost all 3 T20 matches. All right, cricket analyst Vernon Springer now joins us via Zoom to give us his assessment of the team's chances advancing beyond the group stage of the competition. Vernon, as usual, it is a pleasure to have you on the show. We have Vernon on phone, not on Zoom. But first of all, Vernon, talk to me about the makeup of this West Indies Under-19 women's squad.
Well, it is the second edition of the ICC Under-19 World Cup, and I think preparation is always key for any team going into a tournament. And did Cricket West Indies maybe take this Under-19 serious? I really don't know, because I really thought that in terms of the preparation mode, you really needed to be playing more matches. If you look from the squad, maybe from the last time they would have played in 2023, you maybe have about 3 young ladies coming back. So you're automatically going into a competition. And we saw what happened in the first game against Nepal. Now, when you look at the draw, we're talking about 2 big teams. You're talking about India. So imagine that for the first time, some of these young ladies are going to be playing against India, a powerhouse. Maybe what might have been a lot more easy for them would have been for them to maybe play Malaysia as their first game as a host. That might have maybe given them some confidence. But having to play India and Sri Lanka, the ball is round, and as Caribbean folks and as supporters, this is going to be really a tough task for this young West Indies Under-19 team, based on what we saw in terms of the batting in the warm-up matches.
Yeah, Vernon, from what I'm hearing you say, I think you are suggesting that you're not expecting much and maybe not even expecting this team to get beyond the first round.
Well, when I looked at the preparation in Antigua and Barbuda about a couple of weeks ago, you could really sense that the girls really lacked match practice, automatically playing together as a team. And that is always going to be a challenge. Again, it's Under-19, so I don't know how much preparation went into some of the territories. I mean, I can speak about the folks in the Leeward Islands. They were under some tutelage work in St. Kitts and Nevis from people like Percy Daniel, and also J.S. Taylor in St. Kitts and Nevis. So they had some work taking place along with Mr. Ward in the St. Paul's area. So those young ladies were taken care of in St. Kitts. In some terms of the other territories, I don't know how much development work was done with them. But in Antigua, I would have loved to have seen that team playing against maybe even an Antigua under-15 team in terms of their preparation. What they had were matches among them. And sometimes you just need to pique the interest by let them playing against boys, so you could really kind of get the best out of them. But what I saw in Antigua, I know the batting was going to be a problem.
Yeah, and one of the players, Vernon, that I think will really have to step up in this Under-19 World Cup will be the skipper, the young Samara Ramnath. And I'm saying that because, you know, I think she has the capability and the experience. She did play for Trinbago Knight Riders during the CPL last year, and Samara got the opportunity to bowl. She got the opportunity to rub shoulders with some of the best senior players. And I think that experience will go a long way for her, and of course, in her leadership of this young bunch of players. What say you?
Well, the captain along with Jazara Claxton. Jazara Claxton is also a big name player in women's cricket in the Caribbean. And most people felt that even the tour of the last West Indies women's tour, some maybe provisions could have been made for the captain and Jazara Claxton to maybe go on that tour to be able to gain some sort of kind of experience. Jazara has also played in the Women's Premier League as well too, and has shown that she's got the qualities as a natural athlete. In fact, she's also a character athlete and also a footballer. So I think these two will be the players that will be put under some pressure. But my major concern, as you know, is you don't want to put that pressure on the captain and Jazara Claxton. Some of the other players are going to have to step up. And like I said, the batting to me is a real major concern. That is my worry. The bowling, I'm really not too much worried about the bowling, but the batting is a concern for me.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts, seeing that you got the opportunity to look at the girls, you know, play a bit? What are your thoughts on Asabi Calendar? Because, you know, she is also an all-round athlete. Apart from playing cricket, she also represented Barbados in javelin. And I think, you know, she's one of the other players, you know, if we are to single out players, because when we think about the senior team, we're calling out Hayley Matthews. We're hoping Stefani is fit, Deandra Doughton. Do you think Asabi Calendar can also assist the two other players that we spoke about previously when it comes to, of course, you know, putting up a fight? Because seeing that a lot of people have already, you know, felt as if the West Indies won't be a match for the other teams, but as in putting up a fight, what are your thoughts, Vernon, from what you would have seen on Asabi Calendar?
We need an action plan for women's cricket in the Caribbean. And these young ladies are the next crop of the Deandra Doughton and company that will take over West Indies cricket for the next 3-4 years. And so all of this development plan that we have taken place for our under-19 boys, the focus also needs to happen for the young ladies as fast as possible. I don't see a lot of attention being paid to that, and that is also my major concern, because even if we look into this group of these under-19 players, today or tomorrow, let's say 5-6 of the senior players walk out. Can we trust and say, well, we have at least 4 or 5 players from the under-19 that can walk right into the West Indies team? No, we don't. And so we have a lot of work to do when it comes in terms of women's cricket. We have to stop paying lip service to women's cricket in the Caribbean and spend some money. And what we need is a director of women's cricket in the Caribbean. We need to come up with a plan, and I'm going to make the plan again, folks. Let us pick at least 50 girls, maybe if we want, so 50 girls or 50 young ladies between the ages of 15 to 35 and put them in a franchise system and get the best coaches to be working with our women's program and a pilot program for the next 2 to 3 years.
Okay, I hear you loud and clear, Vernon. From the 16 teams that will be taking part in this Under-19 World Cup, India, of course, defending champions. It is the second edition of this competition, so I'm expecting India to put up a fight. Which are the other teams you think will come up trumps?
Well, you can never count out the champions. The champions are South Africa, so, you know, don't bypass that. You know, you still have to look around and see what's happening. We have the 10 full member nations participating. No Zimbabwe, no Afghanistan, but you know, you got some newcomers, and it shows you that the game is developing around the world. You got Nigeria and Samoa and Malaysia playing for the first time. So West Indies can still get into the Group 6, but they're going to have to beat host Malaysia. And so that is going to be key. So the coaching staff in this tournament are going to have to be able to lift their game. And it depends on what the performance is going to be like. In the first game against India, it's going to be a huge task. In terms of teams to look at, you can't count out England, you can't count out India, you can't count out Australia. But I'm also I'm loving what I'm seeing from the USA. The USA seems to have a program that got something going for them. Those are warm-up matches. It is now going to see what's going to be happening in the competition, but I'm impressed with what I've seen coming out of USA women's cricket. So I think there could be maybe one of the dark horses in the race. We'll wait and see, but I think it's a competition first where we have to concentrate on West Indies. If West Indies beats Malaysia, well, then they will be able to be through to the next round. If they don't, then you know what's going to be happening. We're starting with 16, and they could end up as one of the teams that will be coming home pretty early.
Yeah,
let's hope not.
A quick correction there, Vernon. India are the defending champions. This is the second time the competition will be taking place. So last year it was held in South Africa.
So, like I was saying, India, South Africa, anything is possible in that category. And what I think this is going to also match up for us now is this tournament. If West Indies doesn't come out of this group, then it's going to show how far behind we are when it comes in terms of women's cricket.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, another team that, you know, we can't leave out, Australia. When we look at the Australia senior team, I think the youngsters also, the young girls have really put up their hands. I mean, even in the pre-match practice sessions, you know, you see the Australians coming to the forefront. So if we are to look at Group D, that's Australia, Bangladesh, Nepal and Scotland, I think that would also be, Vernon, a very exciting group to pay close attention to.
Well, every group is exciting. And, you know, like I said, cricket is being played on the day. And so the conditions in Malaysia is also going to be a test for a number of those countries. Outside of India and Australia, I think it's going to be a low-scoring competition based on what we saw for some of the warm-up matches. Between the England, Australia, and India, I think those are the teams that are maybe going to be scoring big runs. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see in terms of the scores and who are going to be some of the standout players.
Yeah, Vernon, well, as usual, it's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I guess we'll be watching and praying and hoping that the West Indies will do well at this Women's Under-19 World Cup in Malaysia. Take care. I know you'll be watching for sure. You'll be having a lot of sports to watch in the next few weeks, Vernon, night and day. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to do it.
I have two computers plus my television, and then all of us have a phone with an app on it. So if you're out, you're almost going to be glued to be able to make sure that you pay attention in terms of what's happening. But I just want to wish Amir Django all the best. I think he'll become the 341st Test player. And I hope that the West Indies, I like what Pakistan is doing. They're preparing a run turner. Pakistan themselves, if West Indies get a good grip on them, they could be in some problems as well too. So West Indies have to believe. It's about now.
Yeah, all right. Vernon, thanks very much. That match could finish quicker than a T20 contest. But anyhow, let's take a break. No?
No, come on. We're not going with that energy. But as a matter of fact...
But I never said it will finish. It could finish in West Indies' favour, and especially if it's like a T20 contest, then that's one version of the game that the West Indies are pretty good at. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
But that's not what you meant. Don't heavy up my side.
No, you don't know what I meant. I said what I said, and you interpreted it how you interpreted it.
Well, now I'm saying we're going to At the Track, where Lance will be the star of that segment, and I hope you enjoy.